in a lively suburban neighborhood. Two mothers, Mrs. Sarah and Mrs. Emily, lived as next-door neighbors. Their houses were side by side, and their friendship was as strong as family. Despite their differing parenting styles, Mrs. Sarah was strict and disciplined, believing in firm rules and structure. On the other hand, Mrs. Emily was gentle and easygoing, rarely raising her voice at her son, Ethan. Both women were hard-working entrepreneurs, often spending their days managing their businesses, leaving little time for their children. Ethan and Lily, Mrs. Sarah's daughter, had grown up together like siblings. At 12 years old, they were inseparable, sharing secrets, doing homework, and playing games in the backyard. Their laughter echoed through the neighborhood, a constant reminder of their carefree youth. One evening at dinner, Ethan turned to his mother with a hopeful expression. "Mom, I need a phone. All my classmates have one. I feel left out." Mrs. Emily paused, her spoon midair. "A phone, Ethan? Don't you think you're too young for that?" "But Mom, it's not just for games. I can use it to study, too," Ethan argued, his big eyes pleading. Mrs. Emily sighed, unsure if he was ready for such responsibility. After a moment, she set a condition. "If you can come first in your class this term, I'll buy you a phone, but only if you prove you deserve it." Ethan's face lit up with determination. From that day forward, he studied harder than ever, pouring all his energy into his schoolwork. Even Lily noticed the change. "You're really serious about this phone, aren't you?" she teased one evening as they worked on their math homework together. "I'll show Mom I can do it," Ethan replied confidently. When the term ended, Ethan achieved his goal. He came home beaming, clutching his report card. "Mom, look, first place." Mrs. Emily was overjoyed. She hugged him tightly and kept her promise, buying Ethan a sleek new iPhone. It was more advanced than he had ever imagined, and he was ecstatic. From that day on, the phone became Ethan's favorite possession. He used it to play games, watch cartoons, and explore the internet. Lily often joined him, and they spent hours laughing at funny videos and sharing games. One sunny afternoon, as they sat in Ethan's room, glued to the screen, he scrolled through different apps. "Let's see what else we can find," he said excitedly. Lily nodded, her eyes wide with curiosity. That moment marked the beginning of something neither of them could have predicted, a journey that would test their friendship and innocence. The Forbidden's discovery. One quiet afternoon, while their mothers were away, Ethan was exploring his phone as Lily watched over his shoulder. Suddenly, he paused. "What's this?" he muttered, clicking on an unfamiliar icon. The screen lit up with a collection of videos. The thumbnails were different from the cartoons and games they usually watched. Curious, Ethan tapped on one. The video began to play, showing something strange, adults behaving in ways they didn't understand. "What are they doing?" Lily whispered. Ethan hesitated. "I think it's something adults do. I've heard older boys at school talk about this." Lily's face flushed. "Should we be watching this? It feels wrong." Ethan shrugged, unable to tear his eyes away. "It's just a video. It's not like we're doing anything bad." But deep down, both children felt uneasy. The video ended, but instead of closing the app, Ethan clicked on another one. As minutes turned into hours, their uneasiness transformed into fascination. They didn't fully understand what they were watching, but the mystery of it drew them in. "Let's not tell anyone about this," Ethan said firmly. "It's our secret." Lily hesitated, but she nodded. She knew her mother wouldn't take it lightly if she found out. From that day on, their afternoons changed. Whenever their mothers were away, they would lock themselves in Ethan's room, watching more of the Forbidden's videos. The once joyful laughter that filled the house was replaced by whispered conversations and stolen glances. Days turned into weeks, and their secret began to affect their friendship. They no longer played outside or did homework together like before. Their bond now revolved around the hidden world they had discovered. One evening, Lily turned to Ethan. "Do you think it's bad that we're watching these videos?" she asked, her voice trembling. Ethan looked uncomfortable. "It's just videos, Lily. It's not like we're doing anything wrong." "But what if our parents find out?" Ethan's expression hardened. "They won't. We just have to keep it a secret." Lily nodded, but her unease grew with each passing day. Then, one fateful afternoon, she shocked Ethan with a suggestion. What if we tried doing what they do in the videos? Ethan froze. What? No. That's not a good idea, Lily. But why not? She insisted. If it's something adults do, maybe we can understand it better. Ethan's heart pounded. I don't think it's right. What if we get caught? But Lily wouldn't let it go. Her curiosity was stronger than her fear. She kept bringing it up until Ethan reluctantly agreed. The first time they tried, it didn't go as planned. Lily felt a sharp pain and quickly told Ethan to stop. She ran out of the room, tears streaming down her face. For days, she avoided Ethan, refusing to talk to him or even look his way. Ethan felt terrible. Finally, after several days, he approached her at school. I'm sorry, he said softly. I shouldn't have agreed. Lily hesitated before nodding. It's okay. Let's just forget about it. Their friendship slowly returned to normal, but things were never quite the same. Then, one random day, Lily surprised Ethan again. I think we should try it again, she said bluntly. Ethan stared at her in disbelief. Lily, no. Last time. This time will be different, she interrupted. Please, Ethan, don't disappoint me. Ethan's heart sank. He didn't want to, but he couldn't bear the thought of upsetting Lily. Reluctantly, he agreed. The close call. One day after school, they stayed behind in an empty classroom. The building was quiet. Most students and teachers had gone home. Are you sure about this? Ethan whispered nervously. Lily nodded. We'll be quick. No one will know. They slipped into the school restroom, hearts pounding with fear and anticipation. Just as they were about to begin, footsteps echoed in the corridor. Someone's coming. Ethan hissed, grabbing Lily's arm. Panic set in. The footsteps grew louder. They bolted out of the restroom, running in different directions. It was the school security guard, making his routine rounds. Fortunately, he didn't see them, but the close call left them shaken. That evening, as they sat alone in Ethan's house, Lily insisted, we have to try again. This time at home. Ethan hesitated. What if someone catches us? No one's here, she insisted. Our moms won't be back for hours. Reluctantly, Ethan agreed. Just as they were about to start, the front door opened. Ethan, are you home? Mrs. Emily's voice rang out. They froze. She knocked on the door. Why is this door locked? When she finally entered and saw their guilty expressions, her sharp eyes darted between them. What's going on here? The children stammered, but soon, the truth spilled out. Mrs. Emily's heart sank. She immediately called Mrs. Sarah. Together, they sat the children down and explained the dangers of what they had been watching and doing. Realizing their mistakes, they sought professional help. Despite efforts to mend the situation, the bond between the two families was never the same. Mrs. Sarah eventually relocated, hoping to give Lily a fresh start. As Ethan watched their moving truck drive away, he knew he had learned a lesson he would never forget. The moral lesson of the story is that parents must be actively involved in their children's lives. Open conversations about internet safety are crucial. Phones are useful tools, but only when given at the right time and with proper guidance. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more narratives and stories from Narrative Hub. Thank you all for watching. I would love to know where you are watching from.